Hi everybody, it's Susan from Sunrise Quilt Studio and welcome to week 27 of the Stash Buster block series. And our block this week is called Road to Oklahoma. This is a pretty common block even today, and even though it is an old block and it's pretty easy to make. We've got two different units here. We've got this corner unit here, and then we have 4 patches. So the only thing that is different other than squares is the half square triangle. So this is easy to put together, and you can change colors any way you like and make interesting patterns from this block. So I hope you'll stick with me and I'll show you how to put this block together. Well, here are the fabrics that you're going to need to make the Road to Oklahoma block. For the background, you're going to need 2 pieces that are 2 7/8 square. You'll need 6 that are 2.5 inch square. For the red, you'll need 4 that are 2.5 inch square. And for the blue, you'll need 2 that are 2 7/8, and then you'll need 2 that are 2.5 inches square. So we're going to make 2 different units. In this block, we have a 4 patch, and then we have some half square triangles with some single squares. So we're going to make 2 different units, and then we'll put them together to make the block. So first thing, let's do the half square triangles first. And to do that, we're going to need to draw a diagonal line on the 2 7/8 inch squares of the white fabric. And I'm just going to use a pencil, just a regular pencil, and a straight edge, and this happens to be a template, and just draw it dark enough so that you can see it. This will be a guide to stitch on and to cut on, so you won't see this in your quilt. So you can use whatever kind of pen or pencil that you like. So we're going to match these up with the blue 2 7/8 inch, and we're going to put them right sides together. And then we'll stitch a 1/4 inch away on both sides of this drawn line. So we'll go to the sewing machine and work on that. Okay, I'm just going to line my presser foot up, and we're just going to stitch on both sides of these squares. And then I'm going to take the other one, and I'm just going to chain piece these together. And then I'm just going to swing it around and do the other side. Next thing I'm going to do is to cut these right along the line that I drew on there. And this will give me my 2 half square triangles. So I'll have a total of 4. So now I need to press these open, and then we'll match them up with the other pieces that go in that unit, and we'll sew that together. I'm going to press towards the dark side on these fabrics, on these pieces here. So one more. And I do have my steam on. You don't need it on. I just happen to have mine on at the moment, so I'm going to go ahead and use it. Next thing I want to do is I want to remove these dog ears, because they don't serve any purpose other than to create bulk, and that just creates additional problems if you have extra bulk in your quilt. So we're going to cut those off. And there's all kinds of tools that you can buy to help you do this if you don't want to just snip them with your scissors. Okay, so I'm going to get these pieces out of the way, and now I'm going to put this unit together, and I'm just going to follow the block here and make this unit here. So it's going to start out with the blue corner, and then the half square triangles surround it like that, and then we have the white here. So I need to make 2 of those units, so we'll do the same thing with this one. Oops, we're going to go this way. Just like that. So make 2 identical units. So I'm going to sew these 2 together and these 2 together, and then sew the 2 rows together. So I'm going to go ahead and flip them over, and I'm just going to chain piece all of these together to kind of help save a little bit of time. So I'm just going to line up my raw edges, stitch with 1/4 inch seam allowance. And then the next 2, and I'm going to flip this one over so that my seam here is on the bottom. That way, if I did it this direction and I'm sewing up here, it's going to catch and want to flip that over, and I don't want it to flip over, so I'm going to place it seam down. Okay, the next 2 pieces. And then these 2. I'm going to flip this one too. Okie doke. And now I'm going to clip them apart. And we're going to press and then put them back together and sew them into units. Okay, ready to press. I'm going to press towards the dark fabric. And on this one, this piece is going to go here, and so I want to press towards the light on this unit. And what that will do is make these 2 rows go together better, because I'm going to be nesting those seams together here. So we're going to do that. I'm going to get that seam pressed down a little better. But for right now, I'm going to leave these out to make sure I got them all in the correct order. And let's press this open. So this one goes towards the blue. This one I'm going to press towards the white. Okay, so these are going to go like this. So let's go back to the sewing machine and sew these 2 units together. So I've got my seams nested together, and sew them down with a 1/4 inch seam allowance. And then we'll sew these 2 units together. And we'll press once more. Now on this block, I pressed them in 2 different directions. I pressed one towards, well, this row towards the white. I pressed this row towards the blue. And that has to do with how these go together with the 4-patch unit. So that made a difference there. So if you'd like, you can press them open instead of to one side. Just do whatever works best for you. And what I find is I'll just press them in one direction, and then I may find that I have to repress them in a different direction in order to get the units to go together nicely with the next unit that it goes to. So I'm going to set these aside, and then we're going to work on the 4 patches. So what I have to do with this is just sew one red square to one white square, and so we'll just chain piece those together, and then we'll press, and then we'll sew them together into blocks. Now, I think this is the first block that I've made out of red, white, and blue, and I did that because it's getting close to the 4th of July here in the States, which is our celebration of our independence. So I thought I would make a red, white, and blue block, and I'll make several of these and then make a separate quilt out of that. So I know several veterans, and so I think this will make a nice gift for one of them. I also happen to know several people that are on active duty, so I have lots of people that I could give it to, so I'm going to go ahead and do this. Okay, now I just need to press them open and then sew them together into a block. Okay, we're going to press towards the dark, so that would be the red in my case. Now I've seen this block, the Road to Oklahoma. This is a real popular block, and you'll see it in all different colorways. I've seen it in autumn colors and batiks. I've seen it in hand-dyed fabrics. You can get a lot of different looks out of it by rotating the blocks and just how you lay them out. If you add additional blocks to it or alternate blocks, lots of things you can do with this block. Okay, now I'm going to sew them into the unit. So I need 2 separate units. So we're going to lay them like this, and then we're going to sew along here. Okay, I'm going to nest my seams and sew with 1/4 inch seam allowance. One more here. Okay, now we're going to press these, and we're going to lay out the block and then sew that together. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and lay out the block before I press these, because I may want to adjust how I have the seams. Now, I'm following this block here as to how this is going to go together, and I'm going to do the reds. They're going to go from corner to corner in the block, the red. So we're going to go like this. Okay, I'm watching how these seams are pressed here. This one is pressed this way, so ideally this one would go that direction. I also have to match these seams, and unfortunately they're both going this direction. So let me see if flipping these will help, and yeah, that will work. These 2 seams will work, and then I've got these 2 going the same direction, so this seam here needs to be pressed this direction. So I'm going to repress this one. And I'm going to double check this because I just want to make sure I've got everything going the way I want it. And for me, putting a block together is easier if I can nest the seams. I don't do as well when I have, if I had this kind of thing going on, I've had all the seams pressed to one side. I don't do as well with that. As this goes through the presser foot, it's wanting to tug one way or the other, and then I wind up with, they're just not meeting right. I've got one to the side. So let me lay this down, make sure I haven't messed it up any. Okay, looks like I've got it going. Everything's going in the opposite direction. So I'm going to sew these two together and these two together. I'll press this seam and then I'll sew the 2 rows together. Okay, I'm going to nest my seams together that I worked so hard on getting them going the direction I wanted them to go, and then we'll sew these. And then I'll sew these 2 together. Okay, now I'm going to press these seams in opposite directions and then sew these 2 rows together to make our block. Okay, on sewing these together, I've got 3 seams to match up, plus I have points, and I can't see them both at the same time, so I'm going to have to just hope my piecing is pretty accurate, and I want to mark, I'm kind of marking where the point is coming out so that I can kind of see that. So that looks actually pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead and stitch that down. And that seam's wanting to flip, so we'll adjust a little bit. And then we're coming up to another seam with a point. So let's see if I can get that one in the right spot. And sew on down. Okay. Now we'll press and see what we have. Okay, I'm just going to press to one side. So I'll just press the seam and then press it open. And here we go. And I'm pretty happy with that. That looks pretty good. So this is the Road to Oklahoma block. And I've got 4 of them here that I've made. So I'll lay these out and we can play around with some design ideas. Here are my 4 blocks. And I'm laying them out right now. They're just all laying in the same direction, going in the same orientation. So you can get this kind of look just laying them side by side, and they're each, going the same direction. You can see by the blue and the reds kind of all lining up, and you've got that look. You can put all of your blues together, and then you get an 8-pointed star in the center, and then you have the red squares that circle it. And then what you would see, like on the other side of all of this, it would be all of your reds would be coming together, and this is what the other side would look like. And so you would have, all of your stars, and then you have your 4 patches coming together and making a 4 patch here in the center. Another thing you could do is you could put them on point if you want, and you'd have kind of a squared off look with your stars. And let's put the star in the center here, and then you'd have that. So instead of it looking like a diamond, you get this kind of a squared off look. Another thing you could consider, if you look at one of these blocks, is using a different color here in your half square triangles, and maybe also in here. You know, all these pieces here could be one color, or you could use a different color here. You know, there's a lot of variations that you could do with your color placement, and just the colors you choose. Whatever you like, you know, use your favorite colors, add as many as you like, and come up with your own design. So it's kind of a versatile block. You could do a lot of different things with it just by your color placement. These on your stars, you make all of these one color, and then make your star points a different color if you want. So a lot of different things you could do. So use your imagination and come up with a design that you like. Well, that's it for the Road to Oklahoma block. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, I hope you will click the like button and subscribe if you haven't already, and don't forget to click the notification bell so you'll be notified when the next video comes up. Now, there are written instructions in PDF format on my blog, and there's a link in the description below where you can get that. And in the meantime, I hope you're all staying safe and staying healthy, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. For more quilting ideas, click on the video links. And to keep up with my latest projects, click on the subscribe button. I hope to see you again soon.